Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Say Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
This 2021. I'm Angela Nelson, and this is my mom, Janine Nelson, and we're going to be talking about her service in the Army back in the 1950s. So I'm going to share my screen, and wherever I post this, if you have questions, just post them and then I can ask her and I'll respond to them. So that is my mom. What year was this?
58.
Oh no, 57.
57.
That's right. Okay.
Well, that's when I graduated from high school.
You are still just as beautiful today.
But I had a birthday in 58. And that was toward the end of the year.
Okay. In December. Okay. So what led you to go into the Army?
Well, there wasn't any kind of jobs around.
Where did you live? Tell everybody where you lived.
I lived in Pikeville, Kentucky. Okay. Address was Stone Cold. Lived with my parents.
And what was your family like?
They were just a good family.
How many brothers and sisters, and where did you fit in the family?
I was the oldest one. There was 7 of us. I was the oldest of us.
Okay.
And so, the baby one was Wendy at the time.
No, not quite.
Yes, she was.
Vonda? I think
no,
Vonda.
Vonda wasn't. Wendy was the youngest.
Yeah, but wasn't she born after you and Daddy got married?
No.
Oh.
Okay. Wendy was born when I was home.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I always thought that she was born, because she was born between Tammy and Terry. So I think you're thinking of Vonda. Vonda was the youngest.
Vonda was next to the last one.
Yeah. So.
And Wendy was the very last one. And Wendy died when she was 50 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then how did you find out about the Army?
I had a first cousin that had been in the Army.
Oh, but do you remember her name or his name? Nell. Okay. Yeah. Was that short for Nellie or?
Nell, as far as I know. I mean, I never.
You just called her Nell?
Or anything else. And her sister's name was Peggy.
Oh, okay. What was their last name? Do you remember?
Huh?
What was their last name?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. So, and then what did your mom and dad think when you decided to go in the Army?
They were proud of me.
Well, good.
They were glad I went in because they thought it was a good thing for me to do.
Yeah. So there were no wars or anything going on during that time, right?
No, there wasn't. But I was engaged to be married.
Oh.
Yeah. But I, when I graduated from high school, we were going to get married. He had been in Korea, the guy, and we were going to get married. But once I got out of high school, I knew that it wasn't for me. So I ended up going in the Army instead.
Okay, cool. And so had you ever left Pikeville? This was near Pikeville, Kentucky.
Yes,
right?
I had left. I had relatives that lived in Grundy, Virginia. Was my aunt that I spent part of the summer with her every year.
Okay.
And then also I had some relatives in South Carolina, in Christiansburg, okay. South Carolina.
Okay, so you'd been there.
So I had been out of I've been out.
Yeah. So, and your mom was really young when you were born, right?
16.
Like 16. So were your brothers and sisters sad to see you go?
I don't remember if they were or not.
Okay.
I can remember sitting on the porch and the swing You may remember that swing, sitting on a swing, and I had friends that come up and down the road, and they would stop in and talk to me about
And
going in.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So did you have to do anything to prepare before you went in?
I had to go. I went to Ashland, uh, Kentucky, and I had to take tests there.
Mhm.
And I spent a couple of nights there with the Army. They put me up,
Okay.
and I had this little bitty bed that wasn't any bigger than that one.
Like smaller than a twin?
Yes,
Oh, wow. Okay.
it
So,
was smaller than a twin bed.
yeah. Anything else you remember about leading up to actually leaving to go? Is there anything what did you do with all your stuff? Did you just pack it away?
Well, I didn't really have a lot of stuff because I lived at home. I didn't live, but when I went in to the Army, uh, we were allowed a suitcase with us, and we took a suitcase and stored it while we were there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I am going to go to another slide. So where was this? Was this where you went to basic training?
It looks like it was. Yeah.
Where did you go to
was.
basic training?
In Anniston, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
I rode on a train there.
You took a train there, and then when you got there, when you went there, were there other people on the train with you that were going to the Army too, or were you all by yourself?
I was by myself.
Okay, so when you got there, what happened? Did they pick you up, or?
Yeah, they had people to pick us up. There were different people that went in. Sometimes they were most of them from like New York or New Jersey. They were all that part of the world. I was the only one that was from Kentucky. And I was the rebel. That's what they call me.
They called you rebel.
They call me rebel because I had an accent.
You did. You don't say. You still have that accent. I think
I probably still have it to this day.
Yeah. So, and there's another picture of the barracks. Now, do you remember where you were at in there? Just somewhere in that building?
I have no idea, because we had classes in the building there. We had different classes and different things about the military.
Okay.
You learned about
what kind of things did you learn?
What it was.
What kind of things did they teach you? Just
they taught us about the Army, what it was like, and you had classes during the day, and during the day, a lot of times it got so boring, you'd have to stand up in the back of the room because you'd fall asleep.
Oh, to keep yourself awake?
Keep yourself awake. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So they didn't have cell phones back then. So
no, I had to go. I would go usually once a week or every 2 or 3 weeks. I would go to my cousin's. It was a gas station, and he had a telephone there, and Mother and Daddy would go there, and I would write him a letter and tell him that I was going to be there on, say, Friday night or something like that. And I would go there and call him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's the only way I had in touch with them. They didn't have a telephone at that time. It was you just didn't. You were lucky if you had a TV.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to do another interview with you about your life growing up. You have lots of pictures of that, and I'm going to do that in another interview. But and you can talk about those things as well. That'd be really interesting. And then, so this is you.
Yeah.
Do you remember this picture getting taken?
Well, I remember, yeah.
So what is that outfit you have on? It looks like
It's a military outfit. It's
so it looks like a medic's outfit or
no,
something.
it's no, not really, because I didn't go into the medics. They wanted me to, but I didn't want to. I ended up going into clerical.
Clerical. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what can you tell everybody a little bit about what the Women's Auxiliary Corps was and how it's different than maybe the military today?
Well, it was just
Had it been around very long?
yeah, it'd been around since World War II.
Okay.
And but when I went in, there was everybody had this big building that we lived in there, and we had this little small bed for our bedroom, and we had a place to hang our clothes inside.
Is that your
and
bed there in the
put our
background?
shoes under it.
Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
your place there where you
Yeah.
were staying?
Yeah, that's why everybody had that.
You
But-
look like you're
but
really
when I
super
went
proud of yourself
When
there.
I went from there, I went to Baltimore, Maryland, to the military there.
Okay. Let's look at some of the other pictures from, oh, look there.
Yeah,
So what is that you're wearing in the
that's
in that
my
picture?
that's my. Well, I had a bra on, and I had on a girdle.
A girdle. You as teeny tiny as you were. How big were
Yeah.
you when you went in?
When I went in, I weighed 110 pounds.
Wow. What did they call you? Didn't they call you something? They call you string bean?
Yeah. Actually, they called me string bean when I was when I was going to school.
Yeah.
And
and that was a garter, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was a garter, because I see those things hanging down.
Mm-hmm.
You had to wear stockings. You didn't have you didn't have you didn't have the
Pantyhose.
pantyhose like they have now. We didn't have pantyhose, and so we had to wear garters.
So is that a cigarette?
Yeah, that's a cigarette with a holder.
Okay, so did you
cool.
start smoking when you were in the Army?
Yeah, when I was there, everybody smoked there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that was the cool thing to do at that time.
Cool thing to do.
At that time.
And
yeah.
this is like us when we were, doing our laundry and
Getting ready. That one
see,
picture looks a
ironing,
mess.
See, there we were ironing and,
Yeah.
see.
Cool. So do you remember any of those ladies that are in that picture?
I can't remember any of them other than my sergeant. She
Yeah.
was.
I think I have a picture of her coming
You
up
have the
here.
picture.
Oh,
of her.
who is that?
I can't remember her name. I knew she was from New Jersey.
From New Jersey.
I remember her being from New Jersey, but I honestly don't remember her name.
Aw, y'all look like you're good friends.
Yeah, we were real good friends.
But now, did you have anybody else that you were close to while you were in there?
Just mostly, almost everybody.
They were all good friends.
Yeah,
Okay.
you were all good friends.
That's
my sergeant there.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. Hang on, I'll go look it up. Tell me what you remember about her. What was she like?
Well, it's hard to say because she was a sergeant. You can tell by her stripes. And she had freckles. She had red hair.
No, you can't tell that from the picture.
You can't tell it, but I can tell it, because she was slim like I was. Most of us were really
Was it
slim.
Eubanks?
Huh?
Was it Eubanks?
Yeah, that would have been,
Sergeant
that would have been
Eubanks.
her, yeah.
Okay. Was she hard on you or, oh, sorry.
No, actually she was good. She was
Now, what was it that she told you that?
well, she told me, she said, if I told you that black pole over there is white, it's white. but but it's really black, but it's white. If I tell you it's white because she's telling you.
Now, is she the one who made you carry a rock in your right hand?
Yes.
So tell everybody that story.
Yeah, because I couldn't. I always got my wrong foot first, and I would carry a stone in my. Actually, it wasn't a stone; it was rock.
A rock. A rock. And why did you have to carry a rock? To remind you
Well,
what?
to remind me which foot to go first. You
Okay.
usually started with your right foot.
Okay, so the rock went in the right hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did it help?
Yeah, it helped.
Now, physically, did y'all have to do a lot, like as far as exercising and drills
Yes.
and that
Yes,
sort of
we
thing?
did. We usually, when in the evenings, we would go out on the outside of our barracks and sit on it was kind of a slanted place that was grassy, like a kind of like a yard,
Mm-hmm.
or and we would sit out there and take our guns apart
Oh, okay.
and they would take them apart and put them back together.
So tell everybody what Grady told you, my son, when he came back from the Marines, of what he did with his gun. Do you remember what he named his gun? Do you remember what he named his gun?
No, I don't.
He named his gun Janine.
Janine. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always told him, I said, if I could do it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I told the boys.
Yeah, and you've had three sons. I mean, grandsons.
Three grandsons that went in the military, and I told him, I said, I told Sean all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I said, if I can do it, if your grandma can do it, you can do it. And every one of them told me that they remembered that.
Well, that helped encourage them.
Yeah,
huh?
It did.
That's good. Let's see. So here's a picture of, this would be your like after boot camp, right?
Yes.
These are all the girls that you.
Yeah, that would be. And we went into another school, and it was in the same, different barracks, but it was in the same town.
Okay,
and
so this says
base.
this was 757. And your name was Hamilton back then, right?
Yes.
That was your maiden name.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Hamilton.
And that was when you went to clerical school, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and let's go back and look, point you out. I'm
one of the tallest ones there.
You are back here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm in the back part. There would be like three of us.
Yeah, and I've got the thing is covering it up right now, so I can't see. But yeah, you're up here somewhere, I believe. And then
I would be up there somewhere.
Because you were so tall, right? They put you up in the back. Yeah. And here I see you right here. There you are.
Okay.
That's hard. You're very noticeable. Like you were so pretty, and like you stood out.
I had real blonde hair. But it wasn't, it was real blonde. It wasn't
bleach blonde.
Bleach blonde.
Mm-hmm. So what did they teach you in clerical school?
Well, they teach you just like you would in, same thing I took in high school, actually how to type and actually in the school, they taught you everything about the military that they could,
Did they teach you shorthand and all that kind of stuff? No, just typing mainly.
Shorthand. Typing and how to do different types of clerical work and that type of thing.
Nice. And then, so when you left boot camp, and here's the back of one of those pictures. There were a lot of messages written on there from lots of luck in your future Army career, and always stay a nice girl. God bless you, Julie. Looks like Julie. Do you remember a Julie?
No, I don't remember their names. I just don't.
Someone else said, pray you always be.
There were so many of us that you saw how many there was of us.
As happy as you are. Something. Love. I'm trying to read the name. Charlene or Leslie. Looks like Leslie. There's somebody else. Yeah, it's kind of cool. There's a couple pages here because I couldn't get it all on one. Come see me at Fort
Meade.
No, it's Davino or something like that.
Well, there was a Fort Meade there.
Sometimes, good luck. Okay.
But there was only 2 of us girls that went to Baltimore to the.
Nice. It would be cool to get to look up some of these people, see if any of these ladies are still
My best friend
around.
Was Sydney, and when I was in Baltimore, I mean, not Baltimore, in
boot camp or in Baltimore? So when you left boot
Sydney
camp,
was my best friend.
Okay.
But after I came there, after I got there, she didn't go through basic training.
She went somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sydney was your best friend, like when you got to your job, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Your job.
Yeah.
And then that was in Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes.
Right. Where did you go to clerical school?
In Alabama.
Oh, okay. It was in the same place.
It was a different base and a different building that we went to where we learned.
So this is, I believe, was a company picnic.
Could be.
And do you remember these ladies?
We went.
You were the prettiest one. You were so pretty and so you look so happy. Were you happy being in the Army?
Yes. Yeah, I liked it very much.
Oh, that's good. And let's see here. Let me go. Okay, so here you're all dressed up.
We're going to church.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay. So you're getting ready to go to church. Did you wear that to work as well?
No, we wore, that was like our dress uniforms. And we had a different type of uniform that we went to work in. It was kind of a stripe type of thing. It wasn't solid like that.
Okay. And then what kind of church did they have that y'all went to? Was it just like
it was a Presbyterian church because I didn't know anything else.
Okay. Okay. And then here's some more pictures of y'all ready for that.
Were, there was like 2 different types of churches. There was a Catholic church and Presbyterian church. And most of the ones that were from like New York or New Jersey, that part of the world, were Catholic. Most of them were. Okay.
And they went to the Catholic, and then the rest y'all went to the Presbyterian church.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever visit the Catholic church?
No.
There? Okay.
I never visited a Catholic church until I got married.
And speaking of that, who is that handsome young man?
That was my hero. That was became my husband and my wonderful doll.
Aww.
Wonderful guy. He was a wonderful guy.
Tell everybody how
my children.
Tell everybody how you all met.
Oh, we met I had heard there was a girl that come into the barracks, which is where you went and got your mail and stuff like that. And she asked if anybody knew Ben Nelson. And I said, well, I know him. I see him every day at the mess hall. And I said, and she said, I knew him in Japan. And when I said, well, if you want to see him, I usually meet him at the mess hall.
Oh yeah,
that's what they were. The mess.
This was when you and Daddy were dating, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was her name? Was it Barbara?
It was Barbara Stone.
Okay.
I remember her name, Barbara Stone. And anyway, I said, if you want to see him, he should be there for dinner
Mm-hmm.
in the evening where we have our dinner. And so when he walked in, she was sitting there at the table with me. He didn't know she had gotten her. He had asked me before if I ever knew of a Barbara Stone that was going to be coming there. And I didn't know her at the time. I just knew her name.
Mm-hmm.
And that evening when he come in, me and her was sitting at the table, just me and her. And when he walked in, he saw me and her. And I swear he turned purple.
So, what did he say when he came to the table?
Well, I don't remember. I don't remember because he just was speechless, basically.
Oh, wow.
He didn't. I mean, he knew me because we had been dating for about a month by that time.
So going back to that, well, first of all, Barbara Stone, had he been dating her at one
Yes.
time? Oh, over in Japan.
In Japan, yeah.
Okay.
And they had taken pictures of the two of them as a WAC that was in Japan, and him, the two of them together,
Mm-hmm.
doing certain things in Japan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to how you and Daddy met. So how did you very first meet him?
I met him we used to go, usually like on Friday or Saturday evenings, we would go to, we would have a gathering with the military people.
So, but didn't you meet him in the office first when you were working and you saw him? How did that go?
Yes. I took care of the men that was in the military. I took care of like their money and stuff like that.
Their personnel records.
And their personnel record, yeah. And he had come in, and I looked up, and he was going through the door, and my boss was. I said, "Who is that?" He said, "That's Sergeant Nelson." He said, "He's coming back tomorrow. Would you like to, or coming back later?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to take care of him? Because he's got some stuff he needs to take care of on his records." And I said, "Yes, I would."
Didn't you first see him, the back of him?
Yes, I saw him go out the door, and he was real broad-shouldered and real good looking, but I didn't see exactly how he looked in his face. I didn't see exactly how. Oh, wow. And this was on St. Valentine's Day.
It was on Valentine's Day.
It was on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
And it would have been 1958 by then, because.
Okay.
Because.
Is that the year y'all got married? 1958?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't know each other that long, very long at all.
Wow. So he came back later that day.
He came back that day, and when he came back in, and I took, my boss said, "This is Sergeant Nelson, and this is Private Hamilton. She'll take care of your paperwork." And that night, when we got back to the barracks, I got back to the barracks, and he called me that night and asked me if I would like to go out to dinner.
On Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow. So y'all went out. That was your first date, was on Valentine's Day. You met and had your first date.
Yes.
On Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
That's encouragement for people that are single.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was.
So is it love at first sight?
Oh yes, because he was a very good looking man. He was really, really good looking. Was
I can
really
see that.
built good. Well, you can tell by looking at him there, he's good looking.
Yeah.
And he was built really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had the shoulders and the smile, as you can see, his smile.
Yeah. Yeah. That was something. Daddy had a beautiful smile. That was
Yes,
the
he
thing
did.
they said about Sean. I think Sean got his smile. Everybody, after Sean
Yeah.
died, was like, yeah, that they missed his smile. So, and he reminds me a lot of Sean too, or Sean
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of Daddy when he was younger. So that was cool. Well, I am going to get into, let's see here, the whole how y'all got married and what your life was like
Okay.
as a married couple in the military, and then what your life was like as a military wife and having children and
I
traveling.
remember a lot about that.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one time, this is, you don't have to, I remember one night we went out to dinner. We went to a German restaurant. He took me to a German restaurant. And we walked toward the barracks for some reason or another. See, he didn't have a car yet when we went out that night. So we took a cab and went to this German restaurant and ate. And what was walking on our way back to the barracks, and I had on high heel shoes, and my feet like to kill me. I mean, they just about killed me.
Aw.
There was jokes there that we were on the water there in Baltimore. Maryland was on the water, and they used to have jokes about going to watch the submarine races. That's what the couples
I remember Daddy saying that.
The couples would go watch the submarine races.
Go sit by the water and
neck
and
neck,
yeah.
You know. And I remember we had been going together like about a month when we got engaged. We had gone to a party that night, and he asked me to marry him. And
that was
only
on,
a month.
wasn't that on St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day. And
so
it was only a month.
So this is for anybody actually who might watch it, but it's also for the grandkids, the great grandkids, and you know. But tell them about your experience with Daddy on a date about ice cream.
Oh, well, we went with another couple, and I don't remember who they were really, but we went out, and I really didn't care much for ice cream at all, and he got me a ice cream cone, and I didn't want it, and he took it. I said, I don't want it because I don't really care for ice cream. So he got an ice cream cone for me and stuck it on the end of my nose.
Did you get mad or did you laugh?
I laughed.
And what was the story about pizza?
Oh, well, I had never eaten pizza before because we didn't have it when I grew up in Pikeville.
What kind of food did you grow up on?
We grew up on country food, mostly.
Like what?
We grew up on green beans and corn and stuff out of the garden, fresh stuff. Mother cooked mostly from scratch.
And soup beans and cornbread.
And soup beans and cornbread.
So when he told you were going to go eat pizza pie.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Because I had never eaten pizza before.
What did you think of it?
Pizza pie, I thought it was a pie.
That was back when they called it pizza pie.
Yeah, and we went when we were dating, we went all the way to Philadelphia to a restaurant there that was supposed to be a real good pizza restaurant there.
Mhm.
We went there one night to have pizza all the way. And it was 90, I remember it was 90 miles away. By then he had gotten a car.
Mhm. Okay.
We,
Well, that's cool. Thanks for sharing all that with everybody, Mama. And okay, so today is Memorial Day, and we're going to be going by the cemetery on our way out to stop and lay flowers by Daddy's grave
Yeah.
and by Sean's grave.
uh-huh. But
So
don't put him in mind.
no, you're not there yet. You're here with us. So, so do you know anybody that in your family who died in combat or died in the military, in military service?
Oh,
Any?
okay, I had an Uncle John. Later on, I remember we went to visit him. They lived in South Carolina, and I went and spent a week or two with them.
Okay.
Later on,
Mm-hmm.
but and they had stuff that they had to eat was oh gosh, oh shoot, I know what it was, but what? Oh, they raised it in a garden.
Rhubarb? No.
Huh?
Rhubarb?
No.
No.
No, we raised mother and granny both raised rhubarb out in it's you don't have a garden of it, you have a bunch.
Oh, okay.
You have just a bunch.
Was it an animal or
no?
a
It
vegetable?
was okra.
Okra. Oh, that's right.
Oh God, and I hated okra.
I know we didn't grow up on okra.
I hated okra to this day. I hate okra. I never could stand okra.
So he would be the only one you knew that served in the.
He was well. I had my Uncle John had been he was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, your Uncle John was in the Navy.
My Uncle John was in the Navy, and he had what they call flat feet. And he ended up getting out. He worked in the kitchen,
mm-hmm.
but he ended up getting out of the military because of his feet.
Mm-hmm.
They called him flat feet because he could be on his feet a lot. You know?
And one other quick story about the military. When you were a little girl, I remember you telling me, which we'll get into in another interview video thing, about when World War II broke out in Pearl Harbor and all of that. But but Papa, your daddy, was going to be going to work. And
that's okay. Yeah, there's two stories. First story is when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived.
How old were you?
I was 2 years old. I can remember it very clear.
Okay.
We lived just up the holler from Granny and Poppy. And Mother heard it on the radio. And she said, "Oh my God, they Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor." And she got me and Craig. Craig was the baby then. She got us two together. And we lived down in this little, kind of like beside the river. But when my first home was in a one-room log cabin that Daddy built.
Okay.
My papa built. But we lived in this little one little bedroom house, and we went down to Granny and Poppy's and tell them about it. And about that. And then, what was the other?
Oh, but you said that she took you by the hand and ran with you up to
Yeah.
watch the TV to see what had happened?
Well, they didn't have TV then.
Oh no. Oh, you went to tell somebody else in the family.
Well, no, because we went to Granny and Poppy's
Great. And to tell them
to
about it.
tell them about it on the radio.
Oh,
we
that's
didn't
right.
have a TV until we moved to Stone Cold. Okay.
So, and the other story was about Papa, and you were worried about him going to war.
Daddy was, he always worked around, he never worked back in a coal mine. He worked building, as a carpenter. He would build buildings for the coal and stuff like that, And Mother wondered where Daddy was that day, and she said, well, he's gone to war. He's got a job there. And I thought he was going to war. I thought he was going to military.
But what was war? War was a place.
War was a place in West Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you cried.
Oh, yeah. And I cried and that wasn't only. And we lived in this 2-story house. His daddy's brother, Conley, lived him, and he had a couple of kids. He had Janet and Genevieve, and one small boy was, what was his name? Jimmy, I think. Something. I'll think about it. But anyway, they lived upstairs. We lived downstairs. And Janet used to go, when we had, there was trains that ran across with coal, full of coals.
Mm-hmm.
And it was between us and our Aunt Pearl. They lived across from it. Janet would get out to one day, Janet was out there. She was about the same age as me. And she was out there playing, and everybody was just dying and laughing, and these people on the train were pointing at her, and she had taken every bit of her clothes off.
She was a streak, huh?
Yeah, there was Janet. And Genevieve, she was the one that was more my age.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen her in many, many years. So they moved away. Well, we went back to, after Daddy, we moved back over into Coal Run,
mm-hmm.
where Granny and Poppy lived, but we moved into a different house than they lived in.
Well, it sounds like you had a lot of exciting stories about that time. So we'll do that in another, we'll show pictures and stuff. I've got lots of pictures, black and whites from when you were a little girl, and from all of that time. And so anyways, tell everybody happy Memorial Day, and we've got to go.
Okay, fine with me.
Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Shouldn't